next up, we have Team Fashion Forward. The team members included Addie and Grace Crawford, Annie Sproul, Lauren Ham, Maya Ferdinand, and Sakura Lord. Please correct me if I've missed anyone there again. Fashion Forward is a project led by a group 10 student, or a group of grade 10 students, with the goal of raising awareness about the environmental impacts of the fashion industry, inspiring small changes among peers, and ultimately creating a more conscious consumer culture. This group is very passionate about reducing the effects of the fast fashion industry on the environment, and wanted to have an influence within the community by educating students about this urgent issue and inspiring them to become part of the solution. So Fashion Forward, take it away.
Thanks for the introduction, Tennille. I'll share my screen here. There we go. Okay. To start off, in order to decide our topic, we started off discussing environmental issues that we are passionate about and narrowed it down to one that we thought we could tackle at a smaller scale. Fast fashion has always been something that we have seen as a global issue, and we are very conscious about the effect our clothing consumption has on the environment, and therefore decide to act in a sustainable manner. We created this project because we believe we can have an influence and inspire others, and ultimately create a conscious consumer culture within our school. Within the first few meetings with our mentor, Kristen, we established our project planning board, outlining our goals and all the steps we needed to take in order for this project to be a success. We used Photoshop to create many logos, from which we chose the best one to represent our project and be part of all of our marketing material.
As the first step of introducing our project to the school, we displayed engaging posters around with information and fun facts about the fashion industry and its impact on the environment. We used a new software none of us had previously used to create the QR codes for our upcoming surveys, which we displayed on posters in classrooms and hallways around the school so students could easily scan it on their phones.
Next, we created a survey to collect data on our school's stance in relation to this global issue, as well as to indicate where we needed to start on the education front. We sent out the survey in the school announcements as well as QR code links in classrooms. We successfully received 82 responses.
After reviewing the survey responses, we were able to further address this issue based on students' feedback and really cater the rest of our project to what students were actually interested in learning or didn't know much about. From there, we decided it would be beneficial to emphasize the significance of the issue in comparison to some of the shocking survey results that demonstrated how unfamiliar our school is with this issue.
Since many students are more likely to see information on social media, we created a Fashion Forward Instagram page where we have been posting project updates as well as additional information about the fashion industry, the effects on the environment, and the steps you can take as a conscious consumer to reduce your impact.
For the main part of our project, we created a video presentation that would later be played for students in their classes. The main goal of the Fashion Forward Action video was to raise awareness about the environmental impact of the fashion industry, inspire change among peers by providing solutions and steps we can take as consumers to help mitigate these problems, and ultimately create a conscious consumer culture. Feel free to watch our action video on the Fashion Forward Instagram page at Fashion Forward WSS, or the direct link to the video will be dropped in the chat bar.
After sending out the action videos to teachers to play in their classes and including it in the announcements, we're ready to create our second survey for students to complete. The questions were similar to the first survey, with the idea that we'd be able to see improvement in students' knowledge and motivation regarding fast fashion and reducing their clothing consumption. In conclusion, the results we received were much of an improvement from the first survey. Finally, we sent out one last survey to gather feedback from teachers and the overall execution of our project, as well as suggestions and ideas to build off of for next time.
Every couple of weeks, we attend ProjectNOW meetings with the program coordinator, Tennille. During our Eco Club meetings at school, we have dug deeper into topics including project management, climate change, local and global government, behavioral change, and effective communications. Additionally, after-school sessions included a youth guest speaker panel where award-winning youth leaders across Canada and community members such as Mike Douglas taught us about social media and effective videography. In addition to ProjectNOW meetings, we held weekly group Zoom meetings with our mentor, Kristen, where we took time to update each other and work collaboratively while our project continued to unfold. Kristen has been a crucial piece to the execution of our project and has helped guide us in the right direction and stay on track with our timeline.
We didn't run into too many unexpected barriers, although we did have a lot of restrictions due to COVID-19. We weren't able to do any hands-on or in-person activities with the school. Our plans for our project had to change a little to make sure we followed the COVID-19 restrictions. We weren't able to meet in person with our mentor, Kristen, either. When we had our weekly meetings on Zoom, we would sometimes have trouble with the link, and a bad internet connection made it hard to hear others. We also encountered issues with the video formatting and size when we were trying to send our action video to the teachers.
We were lucky to have been quite successful with our project. Our weekly meetings with our mentor, Kristen, helped keep our project on the right track. Secondly, the QR codes helped us get a lot of survey responses because people could scan them directly from their phones. The survey helped us receive lots of constructive feedback from peers and teachers to help us improve our project. The presentation of our action video was successful and well received by students and teachers, and we saw a very positive response. Finally, the article in the Peak newspaper describing ProjectNOW and our group photo was used. All in all, the amazing feedback from peers and teachers has been extremely motivating throughout this project and helped us succeed as much as we did.
Not only did we learn a lot about the fast fashion industry, but we also encountered some challenges and we learned some useful lessons for the future. First, we learned to double check the links we send out to give easy access to people on the receiving end. The second thing we learned was that not everything goes as planned and sometimes you need to troubleshoot and come up with solutions on the go. Thirdly, we learned that if the software you know how to use does not meet your needs, you'll need to learn to use new ones. We learned how to use new websites and design platforms like SurveyMonkey, Canva, Photoshop, and a QR code generator. We also used Slack as our main communication platform where we would receive project updates and be able to message other team members. And last but not least, we learned about the importance of climate action and effective communication when it comes to pursuing an initiative.
I had a great time being a part of this project. I learned so much about the different causes of climate change and how bad it really is. I really liked the behavioral change presentation from Tennille and the guest speakers.
I'm so happy to have had such an amazing opportunity to pursue initiatives that I'm passionate about while surrounding myself with other like-minded individuals who share similar values. I'm grateful for this experience to strengthen my abilities in project management and climate action and make an impact around me.
ProjectNOW has allowed me to experience how to create and execute a project right from the beginning. I learned a lot from the behavior change presentation done by Tennille.
ProjectNOW has taught me useful skills, effective communication, and how to manage a project. I have also learned so much about fast fashion.
ProjectNOW has been such an amazing experience for me. I've learned so much and I hope to continue Eco Club next year.
Overall, ProjectNOW has been a great experience. I'm grateful that I had such an amazing opportunity to have a positive impact on our environment. Additionally, I learned a lot about many new topics such as project management, behavioral change, and effective communications.
We are very fortunate to have the opportunity to work with our mentor, Kristen, from Aware. She helped us tremendously along the way and was there every week with us at our group Zoom meetings where she would guide us through our project and keep us on track. We don't know what we would have done without her expertise and guidance, and we are very grateful to have her help. We had the opportunity to listen and watch many inspiring guest speakers and helpful presentations. The guest speakers inspired us to create a successful project that we were passionate about. They also provide us with knowledge to help guide us through our project. The helpful presentations made us understand how serious the climate change crisis is and inspired us to take action upon it.
During this whole project, we communicated through Slack, which has been an easy and effective platform for communicating with team members.
Within our group, we have had many major takeaways. First, project management skills. After being a part of ProjectNOW, we all feel more comfortable and confident to create projects by ourselves with the ability to present them in front of people. Second, we have greatly increased our knowledge about the importance and urgency of the climate change action, especially as youth.
We have many thank yous to give as none of this would have happened without certain people. First, we'd like to thank Sierra for running the WSS Eco Club and inspiring everyone to take a part in this project and want to take action. Thank you, Ms. Stapleton, for being an awesome supervisor and organizing many things for us. A huge thank you goes to Aware, especially to Neil, the program coordinator. The amazing slideshows and guest speakers were very informative, and the knowledge and connections we've made will forever be beneficial and ones we will continue to use later on in life. And finally, we'd like to thank our mentor, Kristen, for being the best mentor we could ask for.
Awesome work, team. That was an incredible presentation. And I'm so excited to open up the Q&A to the public to see if anyone has any questions for the team. I have to say some of the learnings and takeaways you guys have talked about having, again, I've been working in this field for, the past decade, and some of the insights you guys are talking about are things that, I only just came across the last couple of years. So kudos to you, because, grade 10, you've got so many other things going on. Really well done. So just kind of starting off the questions, I'm curious to know a bit more about the survey responses. What was the most interesting thing you guys learned from comparing those two surveys? And sorry, I know we practiced with hands last night, but I can't actually see hands today. So maybe just jump in if someone has the answer.
I can go on this one. So when we were comparing our two survey results, of course, the first one was kind of to determine how familiar our school was. And the second one, we sent out after our action video to see how far our project had come. And I think the most drastic change that I saw was the recognition of the urgency of this issue. Yeah, there was a pretty drastic change there. And yeah, that was really neat to see.
Awesome. Did anyone else have anything they wanted to add to that?
Danielle, I have a question.
Yeah, absolutely.
So first, I wanted to congratulate you on your project, but also when you started off, you guys were such a big team. I thought maybe you would break into two just because you had a lot of people to work with, but you did an excellent job collaborating. So like kudos, that's hard to do. You guys are learning teamwork, and I feel like watching both your presentation as well as the previous, you guys are learning skills that we learned in university, and you're ahead of the game. So congratulations. My question though is you girls are in grade 10, and I'm curious to know if you engage in Eco Club and Project Now next year, are you still curious and passionate about this specific topic, or would you be interested in starting something new in grade 11? Would you like to have a newer topic, or are you happy to continue with your fast fashion? Because I think there's a lot you could do with it, but I know you guys have lots of ideas as well.
Yeah, I'm still interested in fast fashion. I would want to still work on fast fashion, but maybe change, if COVID's better, we could do more hands-on activities like we planned this year. But yeah, definitely still do fast fashion.
Thanks, Maya.
I would be interested in doing another topic as well. Maybe some fast fashion as well, but if there was another topic other people were doing, maybe I would join that. But I would definitely want to participate in Project Now again.
Awesome, thanks, Annie.
Awesome. Any final thoughts on that question? Anyone else from the team? Cool. Okay, I have another question for you guys. You guys kind of mentioned, some good companies and some bad companies that you came across with your research. Can you tell us kind of who the top, the good companies were and who the bad were? And then maybe what defines a good company or a bad company in terms of their sustainable fashion practices? Anyone want to jump in on that one?
I can go. So we talked about transparency in businesses and companies, if they are transparent, even if they're not perfect, if they're honest about what they're doing, yeah, and just saying that they're trying to be better, but even if they're not perfect yet, yeah.
Awesome.
Definitely some of the companies that we came across. I think the top one that we were looking at was really Patagonia and their efforts to reducing clothing waste and becoming more sustainable altogether. And then definitely some of the worst ones are the ones that are directly online. They're the mass producing companies. So ones like Shein and Zaful, any of those ones. And you can always tell because of the materials that they're being used, because
it's those synthetic materials that are releasing the microfibers into our rivers and streams and things like that. And that's a very big part of the pollution.
Awesome. And did you guys come across, sustainable materials you would recommend keeping an eye out for?
Bamboo and linen are significantly more sustainable than like polyester and nylon. So those are ones that you'd want to more veer towards if you're looking at clothing.
Awesome. And then we have a comment here from Lori from the Whistler Community Services team. So she says, amazing work. Fast fashion is a huge issue at Whistler Community Services in the Reuse It Center. We recycle 10,000 kilograms a month, and that we can't even sell. We'd love to work with you next year on consumption and rethinking what people purchase. So there's a great connection right there within the community of people working on similar initiatives. My last question is, do you have any advice for everyone joining us today in terms of some of the things they can do to reduce their impacts individually?
Maybe we could all say a point on this one, I think, because there's definitely a lot of things that you can do to help. But definitely the biggest thing is educating yourself. I really hope that from this presentation and our action video that you can see on our Instagram, and I think it was dropped in the chat somewhere, you can watch that, learn about things that you can do. But definitely the first step is educating yourself and becoming aware of the issue.
Awesome.
Buying secondhand and at thrift stores makes a really big impact, because instead of those clothes ending up in the landfill, you just reuse them. And even if you can repurpose them for different things. And even if you cut them up a bit and you have some leftover materials, it's a lot better than having a whole t-shirt end up in the landfill or something like that.
Yeah, and another one is to just buy less of like everything, but like clothes and stuff, because like the problem starts when you buy anything. And yeah.
Also just buying from like good brands. I know in one of our posters, we included like Levi's, Patagonia, and Tentree. Those are some brands you can buy from, and it's good to support.
Yeah, what Maya said, just buying less and being more conscious about what you buy really helps.
Yeah, thrift stores definitely too.
Awesome, great advice. And we've had 2 more questions. Sorry, did everyone get a chance to sneak in there? I think that was all of you. We've had 2 more questions sneak in here just before the end. So one is from Shannon Gordon. She says, great work. I've definitely seen that your team has a close friend group and has moved towards to more used clothing choices. Have you seen similar behavior change amongst others in your grade or others that you know?
I can probably touch on this one. I've definitely noticed in the past year, more and more people are moving towards buying secondhand and thrifting. And I think personally for me, a lot of it is about buying unique items and cheaper items. I mean, buying cheaper is always great, but just so that it happens to be helping the environment and creating a more positive impact is really great. But I have definitely seen a change among like our grade especially, and I think our generation too, in moving towards buying secondhand for sure.
That's really cool to hear that you guys saw a difference as an impact or an outcome of kind of what you guys have worked on. You answered, the last question was from Carson Ham, and you've already answered one of his 2 questions. So he says, wow, great presentation, fantastic group effort. So one of the questions is, what was the most surprising statistic you learned throughout your research into fast fashion?
For me, I think the survey, it was only 5% of our school considers the environment when shopping. That was pretty surprising. Another one is about water waste and water consumption. It takes 20,000 liters to produce 1 pair of jeans and 1 t-shirt, which is insane for me to process, but yeah, crazy statistic right there.
Yeah, I can't even visualize 20,000 liters. I don't even know what that means. A lot of milk jugs. Anyone else have any final statistics? Awesome. So the last comment here is just a suggestion for a book. And I can also, I have read this book and I can vouch for it. It is an incredible book. So Heather Beersford says, a great book for understanding how to change behavior is Switch, How to Change Things When Change is Hard. And that's by Chip and Dan Heath. So we can circulate that later on. Okay.
Just to jump in quickly there, Danielle, we've got one more question from Lauren Harrison, and maybe I'll just go right ahead and read it. And it's actually quite relevant to that last water statistic. I know the group had a few ideas bouncing around on what we could do for in-person events. So Lauren's question and comment is, great job. Can you give an example of some of the in-person events you are hoping to do? So maybe someone can expand on what those might have looked like if we weren't in the COVID pandemic.
Our group was hoping to do like almost what's it called? A social experiment. So we were gonna have water jugs outside of the school, actually like basically like showing the kids how much water it takes to make a t-shirt and a pair of jeans.
We were also thinking, we didn't put too much effort into it because we knew that we wouldn't be able to do it. So the ideas were not like final or anything, but we were thinking like sort of like a little game of bringing the water somewhere. And then it's like, and then imagine this like 1,000 times more or however much it is. And also having a display of the big gallon water jugs, maybe in the like common areas of the school with a sign saying like 20,000 of these go into making one pair of jeans and stuff like that.
Cool. And that's a great point on maybe things that can happen next year when hopefully COVID restrictions are a little less. And maybe another opportunity there for the previous question where someone was asking how WB can support, maybe, you know, the financial side of trying to do one of these cool art exhibits to kind of get attention and awareness. Okay, so I will ask your team to mute yourselves and we're going to move on to our last presenter here. Thank you so much, Fashion Forward. So last